Hi everyone, in today's video I am going to discuss string slicing in Python. String slicing is an important component of Python programming language. Okay, so let's start. So let us see how the indexing start in Python programming language. Like in other programming language, Python also has the same index as starting from 0. The default value of a starting index is 0. There is no separate character type, or a character is simply starting from size 1. Means if you have any character like A, B, C, D, any letters, all these letters in Python is not a simply character. All these are a string. And also important things in Python is that indices may be negative. The indices can be negative and positive numbers. Like this given example, what is a variables and have a string Python, and see the starting index from left is 0 and 1 2 3 4 5, and see the negative index start from right and the first member from right is n, that is have index -1. So there is no concept of negative 0 or positive. So that's why the indices from right to left is a start from -1. Like in the given example. And also the important concept in Python is that Python string are immutable. Immutable means you can't change the string value. Like word has string Python, and if you change the string from any characters or from any positions, this will show errors. But it's okay if you do concatenation like j plus word 1. But if you going to change, like if you're going to change in the place of p, you are placing with character j, this will display error. Okay, so go to editor and see examples. If you have word Python and if you try to change the letters at position 0, means this will give error because a string literal or a string values are immutable, you can't change. Okay, but if you're going to use as a concatenation like word 0 plus Python, obviously this is okay because we are not going to replace the value at position 0. Okay, and also with slicing, if you use slicing, I'm going to discuss in some moment after, you can't change the value of slicing also. If you can't change the value at any positions like word 1 or 2, and if you're going to change this ty, so there is also error because the primary concept is that we can't change any value in string. So we can use single indexing or slicing indexing. In both situations it can't possible to change string value. Okay, so let's move to the next concept. String slicing is most important concept in Python programming language. We already know that indexing starts from 0 or -1. If you do right to left or from left to right, start from 0. Examples: words 0 has characters p, or word 1 has y, etc. Slicing also can be used to obtain substring. Like in the given example, words 0 to 2, 0 indicate that this is a starting position and colon is represent range and 2 is last index. Means in this example, the string from 0 to 1, the character from 0 to 2 will be extracted, not 2, because the index is always excluded and a starting index is always included if you do slicing in Python. Like words in square bracket, if you give the index 0 for 4, 0 colon 4, the string will be printed pyth, and not a fourth index, just from 0 to 3 index, because you know the concept is that all start is always included and end is always excluded. As like this, start colon end, this is the syntax for a string slicing, and colon denote range. And the most important line you have to use or have to remember in Python string slicing is this: either you can string slicing or list slicing, any sequence or in any concept in Python. If you are using slicing, this concept is valid. Start is always included and end is always excluded. Like in the given example, word 0 and range 4 always include the position 0 and exclude the position 4. It means that all the string will be printed from 0 to 3. And omitted first index default to 0. Suppose if you forget to mention the starting index, by default starting index in string slicing is 0. And if you forget to give end index, then by default the end index is the length of the string or the list or the sequence, whatever on over that you are using. Like if you give the index from colon and 3, by default before colon you know that there is a starting position. In that case, Python by default or in Python interpreter by default store the value 0 for starting. In this case, the string from 0 to 2 index will be printed. And also in the case of end index, in the given position, the word start from 4 and colon, and you forget to give end index, then by default the strings with length will be stored as a end index. And also you can use negative indexing in Python also in string slicing or sequence or list, whatever slicing you are using. -2 indicate the second position from right, and -2 is a starting position, so the second last is starting position, and after that the string from -2 to length of the string will be printed. In this case you will get the on characters in Python. So let's go to editor and see some examples. Suppose we have a string word and we are going to using slicing on that. See, the result is yt. 1 is always included, so at position 1 is y, and 3 is always excluded. In that case before 3 is 2. This means the second position is t, so string will be yt. And if you forget to give the starting index and you give this one, and the string is pyt, because 0 is always included if you forget to give starting index. Or similarly, if you forget to give end index, in that case Python interpreter by default store end index value as a length of the string, like word says length 6. And also you can use negative index like word, and if you forget to -2 and colon and hit enter, -2 indicate here from position second from right, because -1 -2, because indexing in negative sign always start from -1, not from 0. And also the important concept is, if you are giving any index which is out of bound, in the case of indexing, like if you are using single index for accessing any value, the interpreter will give error because the interpreter will give index error because string index out of bound or out of range. But in the case of slicing, out of range slicing indices are handled gracefully when used for slicing. Like in this case, if you are giving starting index 4 and the end index 30, then by default the end index value will be the length of a string. If you give anything like beyond the length, nothing will be errors, nothing will happen. And if you give the starting index out of bound and end index, there's will be nothing printed on string. That means it's also gracefully handled, because at the position 30 is no string is stored. So this is some important concept in Python string slicing. Okay, so thanks for watching, and let's see you in the next video.